Welcome, SEMA community. Welcome, first-time visitors, and welcome, happy return to our established ethical energy community of our SEMA teams and scholars. So, we are in chapter 1 of Flow and Ripple. This is a season that is now shifted into its beginning, and this is the most collectively creative and energized time of the year. And we're going to go into details with the scriptures. However, for our scholars, historians, and our critical minds, this is a very important energy to tap into, and we're going to talk about why. There is almost universally a time when all of our dreams, aspirations, or the next phase of it are being harnessed, are being shaped right now. Whether it's resolutions, vision, mission statements, whether it's organizations calibrating for the upcoming year, what are we going to be doing? This is the conception of all of those endeavors, and the milieu, the matrix, and the atmosphere of water is going to determine whether we are incubating and gestating those ambitions in a healthy and productive fashion, or we are going to have frustration and not so productive impacts. So, without further ado, this lesson is titled Enter into the Countdown of Flow and Ripple, when our dreams, our aspirations go from conception into the production and gestation to birth. So let's get our dreams and aspirations from just conception to birth. This lesson is being derived from the historical text of Ezekiel chapter 43, verse 2 through 4, Zechariah chapter 14, verse 189, Psalm chapter 29, verse 2 through 3, and verse 10. So we're looking at the energy application of the flow and the ripple. So let's turn to Ezekiel chapter 43, verse 2 through 3, and let the scripture speak. And behold, the glory of the God of Israel came from the way of the east, and the voice was like the noise of many waters, and the earth shined with his glory. And it was according to the appearance of the vision which I saw, even according to the vision that I saw when I came to destroy the city. And the vision was like the vision that I saw by the river of Chebar, and I fell upon my face. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 189. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In the summer and in the winter it shall be. And the Lord shall be king over the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. Lastly, Psalm chapter 29, verse 3 and 10. The voice of the Lord is upon many waters. The God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon many waters. The Lord sitteth upon the flood. Yea, the Lord sitteth king forever. So historians, scholars, and scriptural literate seekers, this literacy is definitely very water themed, flood themed, but spiritually in addition to naturally. So the points of this lesson, even though there's so many things we could go over, the main points are: number one, the creative energy, the creative flow, the ambitions, our inspirations, and our endeavors. This is a massive flood period in the atmosphere where collectively, almost globally and universally, we are speaking into the waters. We're speaking into our spirits, whether by reflection, whether professionally. This is what we want, or I personally want to create. This is what direction I want my life to go into. And if that creativity is harnessed in a way wherein it is properly directed, it can bring a positive flood. If it's not harnessed in a positive way, if it is not controlled, and if it's not managed consistently, it can destroy the city. It can destroy our endeavors. So in scripturally, it's talking about the cities, but in modern times, the creativity, the production that these waters are supposed, this atmosphere is supposed to incubate, if it is not harnessed, it's very destructive. And we'll go into that. Number two, when it is harnessed properly, the flood is like a flood of tremendous production in change, tangible upliftment, tangible advancement. And that's what we want. It's consistent building on top of what we learned before, or if we're launching something for the first time, it's tremendous. And lastly, this is definitely a time to be looking into ourselves. Are we harnessing, managing, meditating on what we are doing with that creative energy? Because if it's polluted water, if it is idle, if it's inconsistently harnessed, if we unfortunately have a warfare going on, if there is security issues, like we're not keeping our trade secrets in the right circles, if we are not keeping the right kind of company, if we don't have the right organizational culture, all of those plans and all of our business endeavors are going to really create a flood of frustration, a flood of disappointment, or a flood of stagnation. And we don't want our creative waters to be contaminated, idle, stagnating, or so forth. So then let's take a look at the voice of many waters. So the many waters effect is, a lot of us are trying to take our production to the new level, to the next level, not lose ground or lose progress. And so there's so much in the atmosphere, it's charged. This is a time when we want to be getting our waters. We want to know what channels are we going to be using. We want to know what mechanisms we are going to be using. So in Ezekiel chapter 43 and verse 7, the voice of the Lord is over many waters. And it's written, and he said to me, Son of man, the place of my throne and the place of the soles of my feet, where I dwell in the midst of the children of Israel forever, my holy name shall be the house of Israel no more defile, neither they nor their kings by their whoredom, nor by the carcasses of their kings in high places. So this is an instance where the particular institution, organization, entity, if we are involving ourselves in destructive patterns, if we are having a conflict of interest, if we are involving ourselves in counterproductive, maladaptive focus instead of something productive and honorable, it becomes a dangerous flood of water. Not all floods are destructive. There are some floods, you want that flood of ideas. You want the flood of creativity. You want to have armies of capable and well-equipped people in your organization, in your business circles. And so that's what this is focusing on. But if we have a culture that's not productive, it's a destructive flood. If there is a culture of corruption of whatever sort, it's a destructive flood. Number two, when it is positive, which is where the inspiration is coming from, and that we seek, we get a Zechariah 14:8 result. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 8. And it shall be in that day that the living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, half of them toward the hinder sea. And it shall be summer, and it shall be winter, and in winter it shall be. And in verse 10, and in her place and in her gates, inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, until the corner gate, and from the tower of Hanael unto the king's winepress. So this is where there is a saturation of blessings, because it's living water. It's not water of corruption. It's not water of stagnation. It's not water of idleness. It is living, productive waters. And that's what we want to be saturated in. That's what we want our ideas to be immersed in. And lastly, the voice of the Lord is over many waters. And historians, scholars, and business professionals, this is very, very important. This is the time when our ideas go from conception to form to flight and to impact. Form, flight, and to impact. Now, what form are our creative waters shaped in? It could be in a new job, launching a new business, completion of a degree, increasing our earnings in an honorable fashion. It could be a clothing line, a clothing boutique. It could be physique and well-being. It could be getting our postpartum body into our pre-pregnancy phase. It could be getting into a healthier shape. There's so many intentions and imaginations and ambitions that are marked at the beginning or just before the beginning of the new year. And it's very important. Get our channels and our management tools ready. Get it ready. Even if we don't have the perfect system, get the best system that we possibly can, because we're going to have some kind of flood at the rest of the year. We're either going to be midway, 3/4 of the year, under the flood of frustration, the flood of disillusionment, the flood of shoulda, woulda, couldas, or we going to be under the flood of progress, the flood of triumph, the flood of tangible upliftment. And that is the awareness that we are tuning into at this season, now that we've entered into countdown of flow and ripple. We want to have a ripple effect of positive progress, awareness, and to be doing our meditations, planning in advance, getting our plan A's and our plan B's and C's so we can have contingencies. So, SEMA community, our guests, if you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And let this be something to encourage and to uplift as we tackle yet another year, but with greater awareness and with greater intention. Have a great day.